Hi everyone, it's Peter from PS Sound, and this is going to be an extremely long video. And some of you may remember that we had a video like this exactly a year ago, last year, for all the Patreon members who took part in a giveaway. And I wanted to do that this year as well, and it may just become a yearly thing, because I want to try to give something back to the guys who support us as well on the Patreon channel. Some of you who have never heard about the PS Sound Patreon channel, then I just quickly sum it up what it's about. Basically, it's a subscription-based platform where we share quite many videos, a lot of content that we just don't want to or we cannot share publicly. And we have a lot of daily updates there showing the builds that we do. We have weekly topics, we have RTA evaluation sessions when we talk about the measurements of the speakers in given projects, which is very valuable. And people also have the chance to book consultation with me, so I can help people as much as I can. So this is the time when the guys had the opportunity to send a video in showing their own projects and talk about how they've been dealing with the installation, the project itself, and how they have found help in the content we share. So it's going to be very valuable for everyone, giving inspiration to anyone globally. And even for me, it's fantastic to see what some of the guys have done. It's crazy. It's crazy to see how someone just, uses our content just to get a bit of a kick to go and do it, because some people cannot afford to go to shops. But some people actually don't even want to go to shops because they like doing it. And it's even crazier to see right now, after all these years I've been sharing information online about this sound quality, car audio madness, that some people actually look like they want to turn their lives into something different, and they want to learn more about car audio, and they may want to end up in the industry because they just have a passion they cannot hold back, and they want to do it. Because for many people, car audio is like who was it? I'm just looking at the videos. I think it was Dave mentioning in his focus when he was talking about his project, that car audio is a bit like the space of Zen, where you just shut the world out and it's just you. It's just you, your music. That's your escape from the world. And it's a beautiful thing that people can find that space. Many people don't have that opportunity, and here people find it. Dealing with car audio and listening to music in their cars. It's awesome. It's really great to see how we have been able to help many people along the way. When I first started Patreon, I didn't know what to expect really, but I was positive that I would be able to help many people, and vice versa, they helped me too. And of course, I had many naysayers saying that no, it's not going to work out, it might be exciting for a while, and after that it's going to just roll off. And the thing is, the channel has never really gone backwards. We've had more and more members from month to month. And now, currently, after 2 years, we are at the stage that the channel has more than 250 members, which is pretty crazy. YouTube channel has grown also quite a bit. It's above 17K as of now. And I always get the comments, Pete, why don't you have more members and more subscribers on YouTube as well? But I don't do it for the numbers. If it was about the numbers, I would have stopped doing it long time ago, because I understand that what we do, especially chasing the ultimate sound quality in cars, it's a very, very niche market, and not many people actually understand what it's about, and not many people have ever actually had the chance to sit in a car that has been installed and tuned properly. Many shops would say to competition levels. So yeah, it's a really, really narrow market, but there's a market for it. And then on a global scale, what the internet has allowed me to do now, to reach out and have clients from Hawaii, from Japan, from India, from anywhere really, from the opposite corners of the globe, it has shown that there is need for help, and many of you have taken great advantage of the content, and you have used it, and you have done some crazy installs. Honestly, I didn't even see any of it until I saw the videos, because we have a private Facebook group as well for the Patreon members, and people share pictures of their progress over there, but not everyone. And here in these videos now, I've seen a few crazy stuff, and it's great to see, because I get inspiration from that too. Some of you have come up with solutions that now when I have a car like that, it will be easier for me as well to figure out how to approach the challenges of the installation. Because as I always say, it's always about installation in a car. You don't have to throw money at equipment just without any thinking. You have to plan the install and do that right. Then even cheap equipment can sound great once it's set up correctly, but installation cannot be skipped. So, cutting this one short now, you will have 17 videos coming up. I think some of you will scroll through it or watch it in well detail, but in several days, because at this stage I don't even know how long it's going to take to the time I put all of them together, slice them together. It's going to be hours, that's for sure. And then especially those of you who have taken part in this game, because it's also about the giveaway at the end, then come back at the end and then we will draw the winner of this giveaway game.
G'day guys, it's Adam here from Perth in Australia. For those of you that are geographically challenged, we're on the west coast of Australia. I'm going to run through my build that's sort of complete, although I don't think it ever will be, and point out where the guys at PS Sound, both Pete and Eddie, have helped me out and given me some advice that I think has sort of changed the outcome of this build. So firstly, we'll start with the car. It's a Astra VXR Holden 2015 model. I think for those of you in Europe and the UK, it's an Opal or a Vauxhall. Yeah, here in Australia we call them Holdens, and this was actually imported from Holland, I think it was, where they make them. So it's actually not made locally. Very rare here. I've had this car over 12 months and I've only seen one other. So we'll start with the boot at the back. Okay, as we can see here, there's a fair bit going on. So the design here is probably somewhat similar, a bit different, but similar in the glass panel that goes over the sub there that Pete did with the insignia. Really liked that, and took some cues off that. I needed something to guard the sub, and that was worked out quite well. So I'll just remove the parcel shelf. So what have we got here? Well, this lifts up, but to do that we have to push the seats forward a little, because everything locks in. There we go. A bit hard to do this with one hand, Pete. I don't know how you manage it, but here we go. So let's start with the battery. We have a secondary battery in here, a lithium 100 amp hour, and we can see a energy charger on the side there. I run 0 gauge from the front all the way to the back, both positive and negative. Total overkill, but at the time that's what I was told I needed. So yeah, could have done without doing that, because that cable is somewhat expensive. That then runs off into my sub here. It's an 18-inch Dayton Ultimax, rated about 1,000 watts, I think it is. It's not really a car audio sub, it's a sub a lot of people use for their home audio, theatres and that sort of thing. In fact, that's what I bought it for. It just got repurposed, let's say, into this, because I sort of ran out of cash and had this sitting inside, so why not use it? It's turned out pretty good, especially in true IB. So we cut through the back here. The box is bolted on, and it breathes out the back, bit like the TT that Pete's done, and also Nerigis, he's done something similar. That's basically where I got the idea from, was those two builds. And you know, this is its third rebuild, I guess, for this sub. I originally had something that was a big box that leaned in the back and gave me no boot space. Then I dropped it down to a 90-litre box, still no boot space, and finally, after much peer pressure, I should say, from the PS Sound group, Everyone's doing the cut, so I thought, why not? At the back is something I don't mind doing, and that's where we ended up. So that just clicks in here. That's all magnetized, so that actually doesn't bounce. Then we have the amps over on the side here. We've got a Hertz Power 1, which is 1000 watts mono amp. That just feeds the sub. Excuse the wiring, it all needs to be neatened up a little, as I'm still not sure where everything's going to go, because you'll see in a minute not everything fits. So these are all getting recovered as well. I covered it in this cloth stuff. It looks like shit, so it's all getting done with vinyl, black vinyl, and I have some inserts that are going in these holes. But again, like I said, nearly finished, but not quite. Then on the other side we have a Hertz Power 4, which is a 4-channel amp, but I run it in 2 channels, 2 times 500 watts, and this runs my mid-back subs, I guess. Yeah, they were meant to be a front sub, but couldn't fit them in, so we just moved them. And yeah, they've turned out okay, but more on that in a bit. You'll then see under the back there the DSP. It's a Helix DSP3. It was intended to go in the box, doesn't fit with all the cables, so it had to be moved. So like I said, that's where I've got to start looking at other alternatives to get that up and more running. We also have a very old amp here. I think it's about 29 years old. It's an Adzest A4800. It's a 6-channel amp, AB, and Adzest is probably otherwise known as Clarion. They had this is for their Japanese market, and this is at the time they were making the Macintosh amps, so hopefully it's just as good, but to be honest, I've never heard of Macintosh amps, so I probably couldn't tell you. But it does the job, does the trick, and better still, it was cheap, because that's one thing that I've tried to do here. I've tried to keep everything as cheap as I can do it, hence the home theatre sub. Second-hand amps. These Hertz were brand new, but I got them in wholesale costs, so you know that made the cost of the whole build somewhat palatable and wife-friendly, which is even a good thing to have. If your wife's not happy, mate, nobody's happy. So I'll just close this back up. In the back here, as you can see, it's got one on each side, Eaton 10-inch flat subs. They're called M10 flats, surprisingly. These were put in to take up the gap the sub was now having, because being in True IB at 50 Hertz, it drops off a cliff. My mid bass really don't go down to that low, so I decided to put a pair of these in. Problem was, my old adage of measure once, cut twice kicked in here, and after I installed them I realised I didn't have enough channels to run them, which was great. So at the moment I'm hunting down a 12-channel amp, so I can actually hook up both. At the moment just the one you're seeing is hooked up, the other one isn't, but it's doing alright, it sounds good. But having another one and the amperage to push it not being used is sort of annoying. From there we go to our mid bass. As you can see, they're in boxes sort of under the seat, but not quite. So they're Hertz ML 1800s. They do okay, they sound pretty good. I have heard some other speakers. We don't have many SQ guys over here in Perth, but I've heard some hybrid audios. Much better kick off those, and they're in the guys' doors and they sound better than these. So they will eventually get upgraded. They're on the upgrade path. I want something that has a bit more kick to them when they're in the box. But I will be looking at mounting these forward facing, because where they are at the moment, they have quite a lot of knolls. That one especially has some serious problems, even though it's got actually nothing in the way of it, which is bizarre. But yeah, we'll see where that one takes us. If I point them forward, I think maybe that'll change the knolls. Hopefully they do it worse. I'll hop in. Okay, a bit quieter, a bit warmer. Okay, what else do we have? I have also the matching Hertz Legend mid and tweeters, so the ML 700s and the ML 2800s. These are mounted in pods. Not the greatest position for them. And as you can see, they're not perfectly aimed because that was as far as I could twist the pod before it wouldn't twist anymore. I've cut out the back of these pods to allow them to breathe a bit more. Or I have on the mid anyway. The 20 didn't really need it. And they go down, they're meant to go down to about 250, 200. They do sort of go down there, but it's not great. So I want something with a bit lower extension on them. I have a set of Steg ML35s soon to go in, but they won't fit these pods, so I have to look at a different way of putting them in. Where we are currently looking at using this little hole cutout, putting a fascia on it, and mounting the mid base in those to give them a fair bit more room. Everyone's going, wow, you've got things on the speakers on the dash already, just use those. Yeah, I'm not game for taking the dash apart at this stage, so they're going to stay empty for now. We'll see what we can do with the little window triangles, and hopefully I can get them aimed better that way, and same with the tweeters. Then to control everything, we've got a conductor here. I sort of made this little thing that goes in my drink holder. So I don't have a drink holder now, but I can use this section here that sort of holds a drink, this little thing here. But great little location for it, great device. It's one of the best things I love, because I like a knob to control the volume. I hate the whole push button volume stuff, it drives me up the wall. Then I'm running a Kenwood 8050, I think it is, or 8520, it's something, deck, full of fingerprints and really bad fitting here. This actually isn't installed properly at the moment. I used a really thick vinyl, and as you can see, the buttons had to be cut out. I couldn't, if I folded it under, the buttons wouldn't fit. So that's actually going to get stripped off and painted to allow for better clearances. And as you can see, all the vinyl's coming off. We get a pretty hot summer over here, and that's actually been stuck down twice and it's still coming away. So it's not the best. But yeah, that's something that's quick and easy. It's only cosmetic. I'm not too worried about that. And then the battery monitor here, this thing is great. A bit of a wake-up call when you crank it and you can actually see you're only using 10 or 20 amps. And everything was overkill. I really probably, to be honest, could have got away without using the second battery, but it's in and it's something I don't have to worry about. It lasts for hours, 6-7 hours. You know, Pete recommended that, and I've got to say that he's not lying. It lasts a long time. I don't see how it could have done that when I first bought it, but it does. So that's pretty good. Where am I going to go from here? I'm probably going to look at upgrading the sub. And the sub amp. The sub amp currently has a 19, or is it 8? No, I think it's an 18 hertz subsonic filter. So I'm not getting the lower extension I should do. It just falls off a cliff at exactly that point. So I'm looking at probably getting a Zero Flex or something like that, that has a very low subsonic filter that goes down to about 5, I think it is, to see what difference that makes. Also changing over, as I just mentioned, the mid locations with the Stegs, and I'm looking at putting in some rear fill. I have the pods for those to go in the back, but again, I'm out of channels, so I'm running six channels up front here, and then I'm running one for the IB sub 18 and one for the 10 that's by itself. So I'm probably looking at needing maybe 11 or 12 channels. 12 if I want to hook up my shaker as well. So that's another thing I have under the seat that I'm sitting in, is a shaker. Great fun. Highly recommend them if you like the whole car vibe running when the sub bass hits, which I do. So part of this video as well is to show and explain things that, you know, Pete and PS Sound and good old Eddie have shown and probably motivated me to do in the build of this car. And as I started thinking about it, there was quite a few things. In fact, there was a lot of things, so I created a list. So where are we? Let's start at the start. The deadening, the sound deadening. I had just started that and wasn't going to go too far with it. And then I saw a lot of the stuff that these guys have done with their deadening and how far they go, including the roof. That's something I really wasn't prepared for. So as soon as I got this car, which was just before I joined PS Sound, I stripped it completely. There was nothing but the dash in the car, and everything got coated in sound deadening, STP I think the brand was, and accent foam and the vinyl. It was quite a task. It's probably the worst task I've ever done. Wasn't one I enjoyed, I can say that. And if you enjoy putting that stuff on, you're a special kind of person. It flipped the wife out, you know, got the car for 2 weeks, and next thing she knows, in parts in the driveway. She wasn't a fan of that, I can tell you. Had to do some fast talking to explain that one. But she's quite happy that everything's back in the car. So, win-win. What are some other things? Hertz speakers. I thought they were really good because I went by all the promotional stuff you see. And I could get them at a good price, so they were even better. But everything I see on Beats thing, he's not a fan. I can't say they're his favourite speakers. He's never said don't buy them. But there are a lot better alternatives out there that I probably could have purchased for the same sort of money that would have given me better results. That's probably something that I'm regretting jumping in feet first. I have a habit of doing that, but it is what it is. The same goes for the Dayton sub, something I already had. But again, it's not really a musical sub, it's more of a boom boom sub, which is okay. I don't mind a bit of boom boom. But you're always left wondering, well, what am I missing out on if you've never heard it? So yeah. Door mountings, that was my main aim to start with, was to put stuff in the doors. But after seeing all Pete's videos and being highly against it, and main reason being rattles, I built those boxes. They're probably not the best looking things under the seats, but I have no rattles at all. I can totally love that because, yeah, rattles will really annoy me. Once you hear it, you can't get it out of your head and it drives you up the freaking wall. True IB. How many people has Pete convinced to start cutting holes in their car, especially their brand new cars? Not that it's brand new, it's brand new to me. Yeah, wife still doesn't know about that one. Let's say we'll keep that a secret. She better not be watching this. But well worth it. The sound is as good, if not better, than my 90-litre box I had. I have way more boot space. I actually have a boot now, which is good. I can actually put the shopping and stuff in there, which is, you know, it's still a daily drive for me. So it's a car that's got to be able to allow for that sort of thing. So yeah, once I get the amp, I think I'll get the proper experience with True IB. Gains, yeah, well, that was one thing that's slowly got into my head, and how to set gains. I'm a technical guy, but that one I just couldn't get. I think it was the fear of blowing my speakers. Pete's been through it a few times, and I'm pretty sure I'm across it now. I've bought an oscilloscope, not that he uses one, but I've used that, and I'm pretty comfortable. I'm not going to pop anything. Old amps. We had that topic on old amps the other day after I bought the Adzest, just after that. And it sort of reassured me that what I bought can still be good. If it's old, it's, you know, not totally crapped out. So yeah, heat and glue, mate. You saw what happened to my console with that. I've had a few things where the glue's just giving away. So I actually didn't know there was glue out there that could be very high heat tolerance. I'd given up trying to bring that one in from Germany that Pete uses, because, you know, the shipping would kill me over here in Australia. But I have found some better glue that goes up to about 120 degrees. So that should cover our summers in the middle of a car in summer. But I'll see how it goes when I recover the stuff we've got in the back. Building tips, using speaker rings and extensions there, trying to get stuff up, and showing you how he does certain things and wires certain things with his amp racks. You know, there's, while he doesn't actually specify that stuff, you know, that stuff is very helpful when you're thinking, where do I start with this sort of thing? That was really good. Wiring, you know, Normally I just throw a wire in with an end on it and away, call it done, and away we go. Watching them build wires and RCAs and seeing the use of ferrules and that flexi stuff that goes on the outside. Trying to track that down here is not easy, but you know, it was all good. So everything's got ferrules and it sort of looks professional. But again, you know, it's not a professional build. It's not a competition car for me. This is just a daily drive. I just wanted to look neat. What else have we got? The use of a front sub with True IB. To be honest, I'd never heard of front subs. You know, 12 months ago, I knew nothing about car audio. I decided I wanted a car that I could enjoy while driving to work. Went to a few meets, listened to some more stereos from the meets, mainly mainly SPL builds. There was a couple of SQ builds, and my budget went from about 500, fairly way up. Yeah, the more you hear, the more you want. That's why I don't want to listen to any more cars. It's going to cost me money. What to look for in speakers? You know, this is probably after the fact. I know now what I need to look for in speakers to get the results that I want. Wish I'd known that beforehand, but you know, it is what it is. RTA sessions. Never really picked up much on those. Pete's saying that, oh, I've given lots of stuff away, and it was all down to the fact I had no idea what I was doing. So what he was saying really made no sense. It's only when I've actually finished the build and started to look at tuning and watched a few other videos that it all started falling in place and making sense. And when you rewatch the videos now, it's like, oh, okay, I understand what he was talking about there. So, you know, Pete gives a lot away on his RTA sessions that we used to guess about with another friend here, and try and figure out how he does it, and what the secret sauce was. It was quite funny. But at the moment, I've got a tune that's not too bad. And if I don't hear better than it, to me, it's great. So, yeah, let's hope I don't hear better, and then I'll be happy. Dual battery setup, that probably was the biggest headache I had building this car. Watching a few of Pete's videos on dual battery setup, that was great. It showed me one, lithium was a better way to go than the AGM. Yeah, it cost me more money, but at the end of the day, I don't have to worry about this thing leaking or exploding or really doing much in the car. I went down many battery routes. I had the yin long, or whatever they're called, the little blue cells. I had all those one, I don't know, you had to charge it by hitting a battery. I can't remember what it was called. Super capacitor, that was it. Started with that, went to the yin longs, and then went to the lithium. So it cost me more money farting around until I saw Pete's video on that, and you know, I wish I'd seen that again up front. Soundproofing, mentioned that one already. Milkshake, I used that in the boxes in the back for the 10-inch subs to make sure they were sealed. Great stuff, great idea. How do you get rid of the smell? Even with the speakers in there, my wife gets in and it's, you know, they've been in a couple of weeks now and you can still smell the fiberglass. That's one thing you didn't mention, Pete. How do you get rid of that smell? I'm hoping there is a trick to that one, but for what it does and how it seals up my bad workmanship, fantastic. Pillar builds, yeah, I had no idea how to do those. After watching quite a few of Pete's pillar builds, I sort of had the courage to go out and start cutting up my car. Wife was horrified yet again, but she's quite happy with the results, although she says it looks like my pillars have a bad case of herpes with the big pods on there, but yeah, you know, that'll change soon. The big one for me, and this is the one that is driving me insane, is the kick bass. I want the punch in the chest. I've had that at large concerts, I've had that at large festivals. I want that in my car, but I'm not prepared to cut through the floor. Although I don't have the room in the kicks, and to be honest, the floor has a massive strength beam through the middle of it, so that's probably a no-go there as well. So here I am, you know, I'm adding the rear subs, the 10 inches to try and get more kick. I've put the mid bass in boxes right under my seats here, so it's sort of, it looks odd, but either way, we're slowly getting there. The shaker, added that. Trying to get that kick bass is the pain in the butt. And I'm still not happy with it. It's good, but I'm still not happy. And finally, and this has probably got nothing to do with car builds, it's the playlist that Pete has released. They've exposed me to a lot of music I probably wouldn't listen to. My wife thinks I've been abducted by an alien because she doesn't know what the hell's happened to me. She hit my Spotify playlist because she uses that as well, and called me and goes, "What the hell, man?" Yeah, some of that jazz and vocals and the mumbo jumbo one was just noises coming off. Yeah, she was a bit perplexed, but after she sat in the car, she could understand why. But yeah, it's opened up a lot of new artists. You know, 2 Feet, another big one, and who was the other people? The female singer that sings Birds. I can't remember her name, but yeah, some great singers, some great music. So that's been really good. But other than that, we're probably nearly finished the build. We've got a few more little things to do. I've got to get hold of a 12-channel DSP. So I'm currently looking at the one with Direct Live, the mini DSP 12-channel. It's more in my budget range. You know, I'd probably have to sell a kidney if I wanted to get the same version in Helix. So I'll probably be losing the Helix and going to mini DSP. And I'm curious about the Direct Live. If I can knock up the same tune that I've got in here in 15 minutes, I will be happy as. But that's enough from me, guys. Talk to you all later. If you want to know more about the build, just hit me up on the PS Sound Patreon page on Facebook. I'm happy to answer any of the questions. All right. Cheers, guys.
Hi guys, this is Brad. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, United States. I'm gonna try and do a quick tour of my car here. I've got an Optima AGM yellow top with all 1/0 gauge copper here and a aftermarket alternator. Here in the back seat, amps are really old Phoenix Gold Xenon series amps from I don't know, 15-20 years ago now maybe. I did all this wiring and stuff myself. All the amps, I've got some Nichicon capacitors. I'm going to recap these amps. Trying to prove that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get good sound. Again, more budget type stuff. Got this tiny JL amp. I actually have a second one. I'm going to run 2 of these once I get some new subs. And these cheap JBLs I got at the pawn shop. I think it was like $100 for this box and the 212s. Stage. We are always under construction here. I've got some Alpine Type X, some old SPX 17 Pro, the 6.5 and the I think they're 1 1/4 tweeters. And I keep being told that this set back in the day, I mean about 15 years ago, made by ScanSpeak. These Kappa 3-inch mids and these pillars. And these pillars, I definitely used Peter's style of popsicle sticks and the fiber filler and the milkshake behind it, and they work great. I've got some new rings. I'm actually about to, I think, order the 100mm ScanSpeaks. They should perform. They should be a little more SQ oriented. For the source, I have a Helix DSP 3S. I mean, I guess you could consider that the source. I mostly plug my iPhone. It's like I use my iPhone as a DAP, and I've got it plugged into the adapter with a USB-C to a FiO K3 to convert that to coaxial. See, I took out the Honda knob here. Lets me control the Helix. Very cool. I've always been into the home theater with the towers and a big Yamaha and all that. And I saw guys were getting the microphone in, REW. They were aligning their subwoofers with the mains and with the timing, and also multiple subs and stuff like that. So I said, I have to get a microphone. So I started doing that in with my home theater, and it sounded great. From there, it went to, of course, I brought the microphone and RAW into the car, and I was just tuning the 9-band EQ on this Alpine, and right away it sounded 10 times better, just knocking down some of those peaks. So then I started digging around, and I found out there's guys that do this, and they call it SQ. So I've been getting into the SQ, and obviously I've found Peter's videos. They've been very super helpful. I mean, I'll say I've had to learn a lot of the tuning stuff myself, a lot of hours sitting in the car listening to Pink Noise, just learning how to build the pillars from Peter and learning sort of his process as he goes through the RTA results. Kind of just showed me, what guys are doing. I've still got a long way to go. My system's always under construction. I got to meet some good guys and listen to some really good systems. Paul Adams here is one, and just a lot more respect for what you guys are doing. The amount of work that it takes. I think my system's great, but I see all the things that I haven't done yet, and I look forward to doing those. Anyways, thanks. I hope you guys liked my video. See ya.
Hello Peter, it's Daniel from Germany, and I want to take a part of your little challenge. Okay, before I get into my car, I wanna show you my system, what I've done the last few days and weeks. Maybe I first talk a little bit about you and your channel inspired me. A few months ago, I was totally into SPL, proper droppers. I had a few installations with one 18-inch, two 18-inch, one 15, two 15, with digital designs, Class D, amplifiers, monos, amps, and a sound digital 12K mono amp, and it was all about how loud can I get at the four frequencies, 20 Hertz, 25 Hertz, 33 and 40 Hertz. But there was something when I used my car normally to drove to the work, I always hear it with a normal volume, and for me it was important that it sounds good. So all this dB drag stuff I only made for maybe when I got to a competition. Mostly all your videos about installation, sound quality, tuning magic, and I asked myself, well, this is what I'm searching for. A car stereo system that sounds very nice, but is also possible to play loud. Okay, then I ripped out my whole SPL stuff and began to build a nice sounding setup where you and your channel inspire me a lot. Now I will show you my system. So first there's the head unit. Before this enjoying Android 11.7, 11.3 inch head unit. I used a Kenwood, but the Kenwood hasn't no digital out, and I switched to this joying head unit to get optical digital out, where the signal can go optical to the Helix DSP. Volume control is mostly over the conductor, and it's very handy, very nice. You can, or I can control it totally blind. It is easy to use, and for me the best option to get volume controls over front and subwoofer, and to change the presets. For the front system, these are Dayton audio reference playing at the door. My car is a Chrysler 300C. The mids are ScanSpeak 10F, and the pillar holds the tweeter ScanSpeak Illuminator. If you can see it, the pillar build is mostly influenced by your videos, by your style. Yes, that's the actual status of my trunk. I damped a lot. There is the Helix DSP. I changed from a Mini MK2 to a 0.3S because I needed 2 more outputs for the tweeters. A nice 6-channel Zepco. I see on your channel that you use Zepco very often. I remember Zepco from around the century changed. I had a Studio 500. The bus apartment is actually a GL Audio 12W7. At the moment it's only one. I also built another enclosure for 2 of them. Here is the subwoofer amplifier, Korean made, Class D, Italian brand. The amplifier is making his job very well. LTO with 120 ampere hours. Or this will be getting nicer when the system is complete. The problem is that I use the car every day. I drove it with it actually about 200 kilometers a day, so it's dirty and things are getting forward, but very, very slowly. The new box, the new enclosure, it's a closed enclosure, about 110 liters for two GLs. I'm hoping that Tuesday the second one will arrive. So back in the car. I hope you got a little idea what is all about my car, what I've done the last few weeks. I said it before, it's mostly inspired by your channel, your videos, your builds. I like your building style, and you say it every time, the magic is in the tuning. And that is what I wish for my, if I win, for my prize, that you put your hands on my DSP and put a little magic in this car. So please, Peter, pimp my ride. Okay, tune my stereo. Anyway, greets from Germany. Daniel signing out. Bye bye.
It's working. Hello. I wasn't going to do one of these. I always put a camera on and want to act the fool, and it's not really who I am. Anyway, right. Got to be quick. 2 or 3 minutes. That's what the man said. Hi, my name's Dave. I've been a actual Patreon for not that long, but I've been part of everything that's going on here with regards to the YouTube channel for ages. I'm 48 years old. I had a Mark 1 Fiesta when I was 21 that had an Infinity 10-inch sub that I built the box for myself and put some components in the front, and I've had systems in every car I've ever had since. I've always loved this side of it. I've DJ'd, I've produced, I've always been around music all the time for as long as I can remember ever. And it's been mostly fun. The reason I became a patron is because some horrible stuff's happened. I'm just on the wrong end of losing my second baby, and one of the things that I decided, with a little bit of talking to a therapist, if you have never spoken to a therapist, you should do it. It doesn't matter whether you're mental or not. Is she said you need something to get your teeth into. So this is what I'm doing. I'm currently in a car with no A-pillars, because the A-pillars are sat at home just being preened and sanded constantly until I can get a chance to actually get them all to go in. I have an Audison Forza 5.11 waiting to go in, and I'm going to run the 3-inch mids and the tweeters passively for now until I'm confident enough with the amplifier to use one of the extra outputs, to use my Alpine V12 to do the 6-inch mids in the doors, and then I can use the actual Forza itself to do the 3-inch Audison Voces and the Morel dirty great big tweeters that I've got. I love it. And do you know why I love it? I love it because I asked some silly questions on the page and no one went back going, you've done it wrong, you haven't done it right, you want to do it like this, which is what the internet's all about. That is the internet, and I hate it. So here, people just say you might not want to do it like that, you might want to do it like this. People say that metal spreader's wrong for putting filler on, you want to use a plastic one, and then someone else popped up and said you don't want a plastic one, you want to use old business cards, they can form to difficult shapes nicely. People give options, and they're not afraid to say that maybe you're doing something wrong and you should try it a different way, but they don't stand there and call you a dickhead for getting something wrong. And I really like that. And I just wanted to be part of it because I've watched this stuff for a long time. I have very nice plans for doing in my silly Focus with silly white wheels and a spoiler on the back of it, and it just makes me happy. Do you know what? This is my place of zen. This car is my place of zen. This car is where I go to just shut the world out for a little bit. And I used to turn it up really loud, and when I got old, I sat in a base car. I sat in a base car that had 150 odd dB with 2 18s and 10,000 watts, and then I suddenly realised this isn't for me, because all you heard was songs that you know really well, you don't recognise anymore. It just sounded like wobbly, rattly trash. And I knew from then, I want to make it sound nice. And funnily enough, that's what we're all here for.
Hello Pure Sound, hello Patreon guys, my name is Eugene, I'm from Germany, and that's my daily. It's an older one, multivan with a 2.5 liter engine in it, diesel engine, and that's also one of the biggest problems with the car. It is loud as hell, not from the system but from the road noise, and also vibrations and rattlings are terrible on this car. I'm still chasing for how to fix it. So if they are measuring on competition levels with 85 dBs, the road noise will be louder from that car. I want to show you my system and the journey I went through it. And so we start with the head unit. So it all starts with this old head unit. It's a Clarion CD player. I have it since I'm 18, so it's now about 20 years old and still working, and I still like the sound of it. First I want to try a DSP because I've seen on PS Sound, and in the early systems I built there was something not available. So I want to try it, and first I bought a cheap China DSP about 150 bucks, and yeah, start to study how to work with it and how to achieve a better system. These are my A pillars. It's an Eaton ceramic tweeter, and I just screw them on. It's not pretty, and it's not the state it's gonna be. I have to make A-pillars, but the fabrication on A-pillars is something I always push away because I don't want to start it, but I have to make it. And then on the mid-range I went to some things. First I have a small Eaton 8 centimeter speaker in the original location here, but I don't know, maybe it was because it was the first thing I've installed. It was not good, it sounds not good, and I can't achieve the sound I want. Then I made pots like a ball. I screwed here in with facing them to my face, and that was a bit better. I liked it more. I have the sound I want. But as mentioned, this is a hell loud car, and with the Chinese DSP it was on 8 ohm, it hasn't enough power. Then I switched to this fabrication, and I'm a bit proud of it because it's the first time I built this art of speaker in the dash. It's Micro Precision 5 series, a huge speaker, but I fit it and it looks pretty okay. One thing I've missed is the aiming of the speaker. I don't know why or how, but it's aiming a bit too wide up. Mid-bass was also a struggle in the car. First I have Eaton's 16 centimeter in the door with the usual problems. And one thing I've learned, one time my subwoofer goes in protection, or the amplifier was, I don't remember, but it doesn't play. And this was the time I realized, hey, my mid-bass is doing nothing. At this time I see Peter building door enclosures on his Honda, and I built also enclosure here for the door for the whole section. This whole part was an enclosure. It has about, don't know, 22 liters, and I put 8-inch in it from home hi-fi I had, and this was playing very good, but still not right, and still I missed the kick in the chest I want. Following PS Sound, everybody knows you need to cut your car, and first I've made, oh, I need a headlight. And first I built was this infinity buffer. I was thinking long about how to do it, because the wheel arch here is very bumpy and I don't know how to put a flat speaker in it. So I was searching for a location and find this flat piece of steel. Watching in the engine bay. So it's the front, I don't know how to say, front plate to the engine bay. First I had Eaton's in there, and that was very pretty cool. I liked it from the first time. There's kick, there's power. And when I put the bigger speaker on the dash, it wasn't enough. So I had another 6.5 inch, another 6.5 inch watching to the outside. It's also infinity buffer and ends up here behind the fender. Then I have 2 of the micro precisions in there, but I had issues with it to EQ it, to have enough power. They are playing very deep for this little speaker and very precision, like the name says, but for me it hasn't enough power. As I mentioned, the car is really loud, so for me maybe I'm not SQ, I'm a little bit of SQ with loudness. I also have a front woofer. Now it's here behind, between the seats and watching forward. One time I have it here in, and there are 2 GLs, 8 inch, I don't remember the name, which are now in this box. It's a little bit of port or front loaded, something between it. I always need the front bass, a front subwoofer. In my opinion, the chest kick is a little bit in there. I don't get chest kick only with the mid bass. Maybe it's tuning, maybe it's just my my taste of sound. As you can see, in the last time I spent a little bit of money and a little bit of time, so the whole holiday and holiday money was spent on Helix, amplifier and also director. Also now playing from a Fio I bought on eBay. It's a used one, but it's pretty cool. I just don't know how to, I need to build a board or something to make it more usable. Now we come to the amplifier section, and as you see on multivans there is a nice space to put the amplifiers. Seen on PS Sound from the old T3 they are doing. I'm now running from Helix M4 DSP, 4-channel, running the front end, tweeters and mids. Then 2 channels are going into M4, not DSP, normal amplifier for the 2 mid-bass speakers. And an old GL Audio, I had it from also my first car left over. It runs the front subwoofer. You see, fabrication is, I don't know, it's very heavy to achieve good result. I don't have the, I don't know how it's in English. I can't wait until I hear it. I bought the amplifiers, I bought more stuff, and then I want to listen to it. I can't wait and spend so many times on fabrication. So the last thing I bought are 2 Helix M1X. They are linked, and as you see, I've fabricated already, put the board in and realized, oh shit, I forgot the cables for the woofers. And the woofers are also a thing I spent and wait for it a long time, and now they are in. And as Peter said, you don't want miss these things These are two AEs 18-inch in true IB, breathing through the bottom of the car. I don't know if you see it. Right under the car. So yes guys, that's the system of my car and the journey I went through it. I realized how much time and money and blood and sweat you need to achieve a good system. It's still not good enough. Tuning always messes my head up. I have about 200 measurements on it, trying everything, and yeah, I'm not a professional, as you see. If something don't work, it's like Peter says, people spend money on switch equipment and then realize, okay, it's not the equipment, it's environment, tuning, and so on. So keep on guys, wish you luck with all your systems to achieve the sound you want, and maybe we will see one day. Good luck to everyone. Bye.
Hi, I'm Glenn, talking to you from USA, California, San Jose in particular. A lot of people know this as the Silicon Valley, home of Apple, Google, and Patreon, by the way. So I have a different perspective here on Patreon and car audio because I come from a time before maybe a lot of you were even born. I have this shirt that I got. Let's zoom in on the back. It's from a car audio event back in 1992. Those were good times back then. We probably had well over 100 cars competing at that time. I competed a lot of shows back then and won a handful. And at this point in 1992, I was actually an IASCA judge. So it's been a fun ride from back then until today. What we had back then was nothing close to what you have. We didn't have the internet. Very hard to share knowledge and technology just among my peers locally, but across the country or over to Europe, we didn't have any communication. But we learned a lot, and I'm happy to say a lot of things that we learned and understood back then, and seeing Peter with his Patreon information now, I'm really happy to see a lot of what we learned back then is still totally applicable. And if anything, some things we did back then are still good today. So want to at least give you an idea how we did things back then. This is an audio control spectrum analyzer. Back in the old day, this is all we had. We didn't even have cell phones really to work back then. So crossovers, most of the time they were passive, and I got quite an expertise at using caps and inductors and doing a lot of part swapping and a lot of listening to do tuning with passives. Electronic crossovers were coming into play, but the sound quality was actually degraded by all the electronics back then. So it was a catch-22 between passives and actives. It did get better soon enough, but there was still some degradation that you could hear even back then. So enough about me and the time that I come from. I'll talk about my car. It's not ready for prime time, but as Peter wants, just show what we've got. This is a 2008 Toyota Prius. I chose it because of its acoustical properties of things I learned from the past. And as Peter and Eddie have noted, there's some good reasons to have a car like this. I'll show you what that is. Pretty much a work in progress, nothing functioning, but a lot started and nothing finished. I have my subwoofer enclosure, and it's made out of sono tube, a round tube of cardboard that they use for concrete pillars in construction. Typically would be quite thin and not very acoustically proper, but the one thing I've added to it that we couldn't do back in the past when we did this was what Peter does, which is add the milkshake. So there's a lot of milkshake in there. It's quite solid. I'll be happy when I get this thing up and running. Then I want to share my audio that I've started. Here, I'm taking Peter's advice and working with equipment This equipment is technically brand new, but well over 20 years old, and I have never even fired up these in a car before. So we're going to try them because they were very good and high quality back then, and I'm going to learn. If the new amplifiers are better, we'll know it. If not, I'm going to keep what's good. What I am going to integrate with this is one new piece of technology, which is the Zapco HDSP. So I'm excited to do all my crossovers and EQing with a laptop versus a bunch of capacitors and inductors. So I'll go over to the inside of the car, show you some mods that I'm working on here. One area is the dash. This car normally comes with the heater control monitors up here at the top. And what I've done is I've swapped the places. Usually the head unit's down here, and now I have a Alpine Halo here at the top, and I'm going to build custom mounting to make this look built in, and I've relocated the air conditioning heater controls down below here. And yeah, I'll have a lot of time there to do custom fab work to make that look built in. The key things that I'll note for now is I'm playing around with these particular drivers, and one of the points that I want to make is I chose this car because of the deep dash and A and B pillars. Again, this was all started even prior to Eddie doing his car. So I'm quite happy to see that I'm on the right track with trying to find a car where I could mount the drivers in the fashion similar to Eddie's car. That's not all. If you look at this driver and wondering what it is, that is a Heil air motion transformer from a home speaker system. And I first started using the Heil back in 1980. And I loved the sound of the air motion transformers back then. And when I got started, I go, well, I'm going to start with these and see if anything's better than that for me or my preferences. So I'm quite happy to see Peter using the Mundorfs and other people, and I'm quite happy to see Eddie using it in his car. So this is pre-1980 air motion transformer. It used to be in a round plate, and I've just trimmed off the plate to get it to fit, and that's where we're at. Right here is, for now, I have a Focal Utopia mid, and I will eventually have infinite baffle mid bass down below, but I have it, again, this is more of a learning curve, so I wanted to be able to play with angles. So I'll be able to do that with this ball, and maybe down the road I'll come up with a final solution if I choose and remove that, or maybe relocate it here to the side. I want to learn that and understand the acoustics of this car and see what I get out of it. So hopefully you can see where my knowledge from the past and mixing in with the knowledge that I've gained from Peter and his ongoing videos to us. It's been very cool to be part of Patreon, and thank you guys for listening.
The engine is starting up.
I bet I can fit a subwoofer there. Hi, this is me, Hayashandor, and I would like to welcome you to my journey. During the years, I had a few cars with custom audio. First, a Devo CLO, where I just added a sub box and an amplifier, then a Seicento with full active and the same subwoofer brought over from the CLO. Then I got my hands on this beautiful thing, where the idea from the intro started it all. The car is a BMW E46 Coupe from the year 2000. As soon as I got the car, I knew I wanted a subwoofer in the ski pass, so I set out to find speakers that could fit in the space available, in the end settling on a pair of 6.5s from ground zero. In parallel, I have started searching for replacement speakers for the OEM locations. At this point my focus was to find the best solutions for the car without cutting or radically altering anything, searching only in shops available in my country. My main challenge was speaker depth. The mids were changed once because I couldn't fit the door card back, thus ending up with the following configuration: ground zero 6.5s for the doors and rear shelf, Audi Sun 2-inch widebands as mids, and ground zero tweeters in the doors and C-pillars. Wanting to hide all electrical parts, I have searched for amplifiers that I could cram in the OEM amplifier location, thus limiting me to a small 4-channel amplifier, the Ground Zero Mini 4. This led me to go with passive crossovers on all speakers. Luckily, the Ground Zeros came in a kit with crossovers which were used on all 4 pairs, and I made a crossover for the AP2s to limit them to play between 300Hz and 4.5K. The OEM head unit has only speaker level outputs, so I needed a solution to adapt and split the signals to the amplifiers. This is when I found out that DSPs are a thing. At this point I was only interested in the number of channels, size and price, not understanding what the possibilities are, so I ended up choosing the ESX-X DSP, which caused me a lot of headaches down the line. Anyway, I had my components chosen and bought. It was time to put everything together. First, I've built a sub-box. The design was driven by the space available, loosely respecting the volume and port recommendation for the speakers. It was almost a year later that I've learned to use WinISD, and I could model what a happy accident I've made creating a box tuned to 24Hz. Next step was installing the electricals, and by installing, understand mounting the rear crossovers, DSP and sub-amp nicely with custom metal plates and riv nuts, then realizing there is no space left for the 4-channel and shoving it in between the bodywork and the frame. It wasn't nice, but it was functional. Now, with what I've learned in the year and a half that has passed since, I feel somewhat ashamed, but it's a learning process. The 6.5s were banged in without issue, but the mids and tweeters were problematic. Ended up using the OEM mounting plate and gluing the speakers in place. And yes, now I know what a big mistake this was. Caused me a bunch of buzzes and quite a headache when I had to take it apart to reuse the speakers. Last steps were mounting the DSP and sub-amp controller and running all the necessary cables. The result? Mixed feelings. I had more output than before, but it was sounding bad, harsh, dissonant. After days spent playing around with the DSP, I've managed to get it to sound okay-ish, but I could not focus the sound. Depending on what was playing, it was moving all around the place. This was the point when I have started searching the internet for insight. Lot of people, lot of info, but one stood out. Peter from PS Sound. A lot of amazing builds, and he says he can achieve something magical with sound. Must be something to it, otherwise he wouldn't have the clients he has. Although he doesn't share much about his tuning process explicitly, but he shares ideas from which one can learn, so I started watching, then I stopped. His videos made me realize how many things were bad in my car, and with my wedding coming up in the following year, I made a judgment call not to spend more money or time on the car until my wife and I are married, focusing on the real important part of our life, allowing me to fully live and enjoy this most beautiful day of our lives. In the meanwhile, every time I sat in the car, I was hearing things not being right, and it kept bugging me, so a month or so before the wedding, I started watching videos again and started planning. I decided that I want the best speakers, and with those, I'll be able to make my car sound awesome. So, let's buy some Accutones. You cannot buy Accutones, not the automotive ones. Okay, let's call the only person I know that can get Accutones. You know who it was. Why do you think you need Accutones? He asked. And after explaining things to me, he invited me over to have a listen to what a proper build sounds like. I was humbled by his offer, but still skeptical as to how much better can a car sound. The answer? Much better. Hearing magic for the first time was an experience I can hardly put into words. Location, installation, application, tuning. The last one isn't possible to get right if the other ones before aren't right. Now, it had a meaning, so after our meeting I knew I had my work cut out for me. My biggest issue was the passive front end. Without being able to individually time align and tune the speakers, there was not much that could make the system better. Adding any more amplifiers behind the stock cover was not an option, so I decided to use the whole rear quarter of the car and figure out how to cover it up or make it nicer after. I bought a 6-channel amplifier to go in addition to the system and sketched up a multi-level amp rack that could fit all my components. The design evolved as it got built. Decisions of what to place where I could only make by trial and error as the space was still somewhat limited. I ended up with a 4-story rack that could house all my components and had space for wire runs and tie downs. Once the placement of everything was decided, the plates were drilled and painted with 4 layers of paint, sanding in between to achieve a smooth finish. After the paint has dried, threaded inserts were fitted so the amp rack could be assembled with machine bolts. This time around I paid much more attention to properly color code, label and terminate every cable. Finally, it was time to assemble the amp rack. The sub-amp got mounted onto the lowest level, then the small 4-channel, the last closing level housing the rear speaker passive crossovers and the DSP. In front of these I have mounted the 6-channel amplifier on a cover plate. Remote turn-on and miscellaneous power wires then became an issue. To make connections in a secure and tidy way, a custom power distribution PCB was created and added on top of the amp rack. With the foundation for a completely active front end laid down, it was time to focus on location and installation. My rattling, buzzing doors were the next target. Here, things were pretty simple. Design, create a new mounting solution for the tweeter and mid, this time done properly. The tweeter is press fit and the mid is bolted on. Then the whole assembly is bolted into the OEM location and it worked out flawlessly. The OEM mid-bass speaker got installed back in its place. I intend to use it to help the lower mid-range. From there down, there is going to be a new special solution implemented. To enable speakers to be played fully active, I bought spare connectors from a scrapyard car, and with the pins borrowed, I extended the factory harness for 3 independent channels in each door. Chop chop time it is. Yeah, once this idea was planted, there was no avoiding it. First, I didn't know where or how to fit the speakers in the footwell, or if it is even worth it. Hindsight, it is definitely worth it. The Ground Zero 6.5 modeled acceptably in IB, so I decided to use these, and we'll see in the future if an upgrade will be necessary or not. To avoid ruining my car, I went to a scrapyard where I could experiment on a car that could be drilled and cut at will, so I drilled and measured and documented it as best as I could. Then I had to figure out how to mount the speakers, initially thinking rings, then after a much needed feedback from Eddie and the Prius sound community, I went with a rectangular design. This way it would be much easier to upgrade to 18 speakers if I ever decide to. The shape of the footwell is very tricky. To make sure I mold the speaker mounting plates as best as possible, I cast them out of gypsum, then made a template from the cast and used it to copy the shape as closely as possible. I molded the mounting plates to the car, drilled holes and mounted the plates in what was going to be their final location, then cut the holes for the speakers, and with the plates being used as guides, I marked and cut the holes in the footwell. To make the fit even better, I used fiber fill to fill the gap between the plates and the footwell. To ensure the fiber fill won't separate from the plates, they were peppered with tiny holes. On the driver's side, the depth available was so small that in order to protect the speaker from touching anything or being accidentally touched while depressing the clutch, I had to mount a protective grille in front of it. Meanwhile, on the passenger side, I had 7 cm to fill in. On top of this, the carpet was at a different angle than the speaker mounting plate. Luckily, I had a relative angle measurement tool from a different hobby. With this, I was able to create a passenger footrest plate, so I don't have to worry about someone stepping on the speaker, and as it turned out, you cannot tell there is something different in the footwell. it looks and feels stock until you turn up the music. After painting the bare metal and the speaker mounting plates, it was time to figure out how to protect the speakers from the elements. The only way I could find to apply the 12mm thick rain guard was to create bags for the speakers to sit in. After more than 260 hours of work, it was time to reassemble and button everything up. In the end, this is what the finished build turned out like. So, this is the almost finished build. Almost finished because there's still some tidying up to do. I still need to find a way to cover the uglier parts of the trunk, but that is something to be done in the next spring or summer. I hate to work in the winter and in the cold. Yep, the sub box still doing its thing nicely. The amp rack, sturdy. It is everything that I wished for when I started building this car. Still some tidying to do on the cables, labeling, but that is an easy fix. Now you've seen the doors, how they are built, how I managed to fit the tweeters and the mids in this small space. The base driver, still the OEM one. We'll see what will be of this in the future. The kicks, the footwell, whatever. Nothing to see here. It's just a stock E46. There they are. The thing that started it all. As for the rear shelf, not enough channels, not enough channels. That is something to be fixed, but we'll see. What I'm still not happy about is the source. I'm trying various options, but still having a lot of noise, a lot of hiss. Maybe the DSP upgrade will finally fix it, but it's something to be seen as well. For now, for this winter at least, the car will stay in its current form, and we'll see what will happen during the next year. As for me, I'm happy. Although I haven't had time to do any equalization work. The speakers were just banged in, crossovers, time alignment just by tape measure, and it's already sounding magical. I cannot wait. Cannot wait to find time to do a proper tuning session on it, and I believe it will be what I'd hoped for when I started this whole madness. About the contest, I don't know. I really haven't won anything, but hey, doesn't hurt to try. If I would be the chosen one, I would definitely go for the DSP upgrade. The current one, although it's doing its job, I don't have enough channels for what I would like to have in the car, and also it's just limiting. It was fine 2 years ago when I bought it and I didn't know anything about DSPs, but now I would need a little bit more. There are the beauties that started it all. So anyway, I guess thank you, Peter, for helping me, for helping all of us, and thank you for this opportunity to participate. Even if I don't win, at least I learned how to make and edit videos, or started it. It's tougher than I expected at the beginning, and for the others, best of luck to you all. Maybe, hopefully, we can see each other once on some meeting, or who knows, maybe at Emma. Cheers.
Hello guys, I'm Carl, part of the Patreon crew. Seeing Peter's latest video with another competition. So I thought I'd share a bit of my journey. I did do a video last time for him, but yeah, the journey continues, shall I say. So yeah, my latest build. I've recently bought a new car a few months ago, probably about 2 months ago now. It's a 2019 Mercedes C-Class. One of the main reasons I did buy this car is, well, because it's a lovely car first of all, and it's very, very good for you know, where the factory locations are, especially the mid-base. And after hearing Peter's S-Class at one of the shows and some of his videos on about his mid-base, I thought I'd give it a go. So here I am. So my latest build basically consists of some A-pillars, which you can see there. I've got Audible Physics RG100s, Bleismer TB25 Brillium tweeters. I've changed from some Micro Precision 7 series. These are a bit more bright, a bit more detailed. And the rest of the system's still to be done. So I've got my Zapco Z AP150.6 powering them and the mid base, which are the factory mid base to be upgraded still. And I've got another Zapco amp for the sub. One of the things I need in my system is actually a subwoofer. I've got two 15s, well, sold one of them. I've got a 15-inch hybrid audio Legacia. I was going to do IB in this car, but I want to save space in the boot basically. So this boot I want as stealth and as practical as possible. I don't want to lose boot space. Hence I'm building a corner enclosure with a 10-inch or 12-inch sub for the boot. I really need that boot space. I found it a bit impractical in my last car because I do travel around a little bit with friends and family. So yeah, I want the system to be practical. Again, lots and PS Sound. I love watching the videos on there. All the latest videos he's doing. I keep up with them pretty much every time he releases one. Always learning something new. Again, from all the different car Peter works on. You know, every car's different, but you know, they've got a lot of them have got the same kind of characteristics when it comes to sound and where the locations are. But again, you know, I've learned now after doing about 4 or 5 cars in the last 10 years that, you know, I don't want to be doing too much to the car. Hence, again, I've bought this car. I don't want to be doing cut as they say. Especially for the mid base that I did in my BMW. I had a 3 Series before, if you remember, and I cut the floor on that and put the mid base in the factory locations, but they were in IB. Did make a massive difference, but again, they were locatable because they're literally under the seat. Whereas the mid base in this car, the Mercedes, are literally right in front, under your feet down there. So again, amazing response. Even on the factory speakers, which are powered off my Zapco amplifier, the factory speakers sound phenomenal. So again, it just shows you it isn't all about the hardware and the kit that you put in there. It's about the you know, the locations and the application. As Peter rightly says, you know, you could have really high-end kit, but if it's installed bad or in the wrong place, it isn't going to work. I will just go over my system. So again, I've showed you the front end. I'll just show you the boot to show you how I am trying to save as much space and stealth as possible. So this is the boot, as you can see there. I'll take that out. There you go, that's the Zapco at the back, the other Zapco at the front there, and some of the cabling. Alright guys, so good luck to everyone in the competition, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Well, this is my car. It's a Skoda Superb 2015. Been a member of Patreon now since Peter started. I've learnt an awful lot from Peter and the full PS Sound group. I've done my first year of competition. I've still got another year to go in the entry, unlimited. I'll take you round the front end very shortly. I've still got some changes to be made, but we'll see how we go. 9 to 5. This is my work car, so as you can see, it's rather full. So above all else, as much as the sound quality and how everything sounds within the car is very, very important to me. I spend a lot of time in the car. I'm doing 20,000 miles a year plus. Everything has still got to look, well, I've still got to fit that lot in. So what I'll do is I'll empty the back and I'll show you what I've got in, and I'll tell you a little bit about the next lot of changes that's potentially going to happen, and then we'll go around the front. It is only a quick video because I'm an idiot and I forgot to do it really. So yeah, this is where we go. So I've just cut back in again. So this is with all my tools just out of the car for the short time. So as you can see, I still end up with maximising my boot space really. Within this compartment here right now is, as you can see, there's a Stinger battery. That's about to be changed for a 100 amp hour lithium. I've also got a DC to DC converter, which will be installed hopefully within the next week or so, I think. This one here, it's just for crap, but we all need a bit of storage. Right, I'll carry on. So, after the panel's been removed, I'll just put a little bit of light on. It's a little bit dark. So, what you can see so far, I have 4 DLS Signature Series amplifiers at the moment. So we have, first of all, right there, that is a S1 followed by 3 S3s. Now at the moment the first one does the mids and tweeters. The second one right now does the differential rear fill and shakers. The last one at the far right hand side is bridged for mid bass. New change will be that the middle one, which is right there, that's going to be bridged for some mid basses. So effectively I will have, well, some mid bass and lower mid bass. I'm also going to be there's going to be another 4-channel amplifier, but it won't be a DLS signature. It will be one of the smaller Steg 4-channel amplifiers, and that will be used for the differential rear fill and the shakers. That will fit, all things being well, under the trim panel. As you can see there, I've got an illuminated logo. The logo is the from Vesselworks. That's Steve Pegg. Obviously you've more than likely seen the Golf with the 24 IB in the boot. Steve's done a lot of the work. To be honest, the design is Steve, as well as some of the other parts of the design have helped him along the way. You know, we've done it together and it's looking really well. The sub is a FI18 in IB. Really, I think it's taken me almost 2 years to get to this point. I'm really happy with how it sounds. I say I came third in last year's entry unlimited. All being well, we should do a lot better next year. Make a few changes. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll take the top panel off and you'll be able to see a little bit there, and then we'll move along to the front. Now, this is the beauty panel lifted. So as you can see there, we've got power distribution and fuses on the left, and as we move across, my processor is a Helix Ultra, and I've also got the HEC Bluetooth HD module. Cables still need to do a little bit of tidying up, but again, this was all due to the fact that I'm going to be changing a few things, so I need to leave a little bit of room for manoeuvrability really. The base is ply for strength more than anything else. The finish is a grey Milano, which the camera really doesn't do it much justice when, you know, when we've got daylight and it's outside. It's a really nice finish. As you can see, everything is very well built. I'm very pleased with how it's come out. Right, now I've moved round to the front. So what I've got at the front, you know, I've got to excuse the bit of a mess, I'm afraid, at the moment. That's what you get when you were working 7 days. Car needs a bit of a valet. So as you can see, under the seat I've got 8-inch, they're the Aries 8, the SK8s. It's a bit of a mid base, and that is in IB, which works pretty well, but I'm missing a few frequencies. So what we're going to do next, I believe, is well, I know what I'm going to do. I've got some pods to go back in, which will then sit right next to the accelerator pedal. On this vehicle, for what I do, IB there is going to be a bit tricky, to say the least. It's mainly because on the other side, for access, because of some of the things that I carry within the vehicle, I need to run them down the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, moving up, the everyday source is the Kenwood 10.1 inch. It's not bad, it does what it's supposed to do, but you know, everyday source. Competition source, and for demos I have a FIO M11 Limited, which, yeah, works really well. Now, some of you out there might kind of recognize the tweeters. Yes, they are Peter's Akiton out of the Honda, and they are phenomenal. They work so well. Obviously everybody knows about Akiton now, through Peter. They are fantastic. That high-end sound, the crispness that they give is just really nice. I've gone for the Steg MSS3s, as you can see on the dash, and look really well there. The trim is done in Milano, which is again, it's the same material that the boot is done in. Like I said, it's a little bit late tonight. I showed a little bit of this car last year. You may have seen it on YouTube as well, a little bit, but it's changed a lot in the last 18 months. Doing competition and having the relationship with everybody else on Patreon and within the, I suppose, the competitor community, I've learned so much about sound, about environment, about speaker placement. Without Peter's help and a lot of other people, I wouldn't be able to appreciate SQ as it's supposed to be. Yeah, I drive, as I've mentioned, over 20,000 miles a year, and I spend a lot of time in this car. And the sound system that I currently have, the setup, it makes every mile just disappear. And for that, yeah, I suppose I'm really grateful and thankful for. I've probably gone on a little bit too much about what I've got, by the time I've added everything together. We'll see how we do. Well, everybody, nice talking. I'll speak to you again soon.
Hi guys, my name's Michael Stewart. This is my VW T6. I've had it for about just over a year now, and I just really wanted to put a stereo system in it. I was into stereo systems some time ago. I had a little Triumph Herald which I had a system in. So yeah, I thought I'll put a bit of a system in this one. I've been waiting for it for a long time. Here's the old Triumph Herald, and I entered a competition, and yeah, I did all right. I think I came about 3rd, I think, or something. It's back in 92, I think it says on there. So not a bad system. I wouldn't say installed impeccably, but yeah, I was learning, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Fast forward 30 years later, I decided to do another one. So cracked onto the internet, done a lot of researching, and things have moved on, and came across a crazy system which had almost like a pyramid with 2 speakers going through the boot, and blow and hold. Yeah, sounds. And had a good chat with Peter, because I was very nervous at the start and didn't know how to approach him, because there's always mad crazy systems. And one of the other guys in one of his videos said he just went for it and contacted him, and yeah, he was delighted with what he got, and I thought, no, I'm doing it. So yeah, Peter sent out some kit. Well, obviously I paid for it. He sent out some kit, and then yeah, I've cracked on. It's been a long process, I can't deny. I'm sure if I total up all the kit you bought and all the stuff you get, it probably as cheap for Peter to make it, especially the amount of time that I've looked at how to do things, figured it, trial and error. I'm sure he could have made it in he says 25-30 hours for a set of pillars. Yes, trust me, I've put in a lot more than those hours. But it's a satisfaction of making things yourself sometimes, and just the understanding. So I'm so far pretty happy with how it's turned out. I'm sure when I get the chance to come down and listen to some of the cars that Peter's done, I'm going to probably think, oh crap, I need to start again. But yeah, I've done it as tried as hard as I can. No holds barred, or go for everything and make it right as you can first time round. And so far, I am pretty pleased. I must admit, I'm doing the rings again. I will be doing those. Well, I have done them. I've just yet to take them out and redo them. But everything else has been great. I thought it was okay. It's a struggle sometimes. You have to wait a little bit longer. You can't always crack on and do. Oh, there's the new rings. Can't always crack on and get the stuff done straight away. You've got to wait for delivery and then wait for a time, because a lot of time, a picture here, I'm working outside where I've taken my daughter for a swimming lesson, working out there in the car park, working in the rain there, and working on the kitchen table. So I haven't actually got a decent workshop at home to do it. I've got a great one at work, but yeah, they're working in the back of the van. But it's needs must, and if you don't want to pay for someone else to do it, you gotta suffer and crack on and do it when you can. But I've learned a lot, and I'm really enjoying it still. I'm looking forward to maybe a next phase. It's not just a 3-way system now. Yeah, 6 speakers up front. There's gonna be more in it. There we go, working on the driveway at night. But yeah, it's been thoroughly enjoyable. Seeing other people's systems and what you guys are doing, and really some people have taken some big leaps there, cutting holes in floors and stuff. I don't think I'm quite that stage yet, but no, this is where I went on holiday and just installed some temporary tweeters, and I kind of got a bit deflated then. So I've got the mids and tweeters back in, a little bit of a tune, not much, but it sounded so much better. Now I've got to put in the iron filings, mix it with the milkshake, get the speakers, get the A-pillars all up and running, cover them, and we should be looking pretty good then. But as ever, I think I'll start on the rear as well. So it'll be a sub going in on the rear left of this picture. A JL shallow fit, 10, maybe 12, we'll see. So plenty more stuff in the pipeline. But I think at some point I've got to get down there and see Peter, get this tuned up. And sometime there will be the finish line in sight. Fingers crossed. Thanks so much, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Hello, guys. Hello, Peter. Welcome to sunny Lithuania. So, as you may have seen in the comments, my current daily car is still in the shop, although I had to get it back by this weekend. Well, I didn't, so I'll show it to you present it to you by some pictures, but here we are at my old daily car, which currently just acts as a mini test bench for some sub-testing, and will maybe get cut up for the first true IB mid-base build. But let's take a look. Don't be surprised, don't be shocked. Here in the back we have a Helix Q12, which is not meant for this configuration, but it's well, it's currently here just for some testing purposes, just to see how different QTS acts in a IB configuration. Well, this IB is not the most sealed IB, as in a hatchback it's quite difficult, but it's good enough for this testing. We have made a couple of boxes here, a 25-ish liter box and a 65 liter box, which both of them are sealed, and it was just interesting to see how different volume enclosures act with different subwoofers. So let's take a look. Well, also, as you can see, this shelf had quite some different configurations in its years of testing, but the two holes are now sealed. Anyway, let's take a look at my current build. 1 second. Here we are. So this is my current Audi, my current project. The idea for this project is to make it as OEM as possible and to see how far I can push it. It has gone through the first stage of installing a DSP amp in the OEM system. So we have a Helix V12, which is mounted on a mini amp rack just to create a proper mounting point. I have made a custom cabling, which is plug and play into the OEM harness without cutting anything, and it integrates very nicely where you cannot see any aftermarket, any of my cables. It just goes along the factory harness. So for the result we have a Helix next to the spare wheel here. Currently it's being powered by OEM harness, which is not ideal, but for the next stage I will pull a cable from the car battery directly to the amp, as well as I will pull additional speaker cables to connect the front three-way fully active, because for the OEM configuration we have a semi-active three-way up front with tweeters and mids in passive. So after doing this, it will be interesting to see how much the result can be improved in tuning a fully active three-way. So as we are here in the in the boot, here you can see the view without the spare wheel, and it's just perfect to fit a 15-inch or even an 18-inch acoustic elegance driver, which would fit right under the OEM floor of the boot. So we will see which size of sub I shall go for, but someday here we will definitely have a hole. For the front of the car, I think I will first try to improve the front system, the three-way front, with better drivers, some soundproofing and such. But yeah, we will see how that goes, and I hope I can get a system in a car sound as close as this one. So yeah, that's that. I will cut it here, not to extend too much, and I will keep you updated once I get my car back. Cheers, guys.
Hey guys, greetings from Australia. It's Phil here, and this is my 2008 E92 BMW. Some of you have seen some footage of this before. So look, apologies in advance because I've just got back from holidays, haven't got the chance to clean the car, and all the grass is growing, but I thought I'd do a quick run round of my system. So let's jump on board, and first of all let's have a look at the source. I have for source units a Clarion HXD2, an old school SQ tape deck, and an Android head unit, which I don't really use for music at all. It's not good enough, just for maps and things. But the source unit I use mainly is this Hi-Fi Walker digital audio player, and that streams Bluetooth, lossless Bluetooth, to the Helix hex card in the boot of the car. So they're the source units, and I control everything using the Helix director. Down the bottom there on the ground is the cable I plug in when I'm doing some tuning. So that is source unit. Now, just in terms of drivers, up on the dash, I've got up front dash, mid and tweeters. Up on the pillars, I need to redo the pillars, they're all pretty cracked, broken when I was installing them. So the tweeters are focal TVEs, the mids are hybrid audio L4SEs. Down here in the kicks, passenger side and driver side, which is a bit difficult to see, are a set of 6-inch focal 6W3s. For subs, here in the boot, in the back, in trunk IB setup, here's a couple of Acoustic Elegance SBP 15s, and so it's a baffle I made myself. It's rock solid, and pretty well sealed all the way around. You can see the RCA cables get routed in through just down the side of the chair there. What I still need to do is the refills, so that's why my D pillars are missing. I'm working on those at the moment. And then swing around to the boot. This is where all the electronics are. Here you go. So the whole system is run by a Helix Ultra. And then in terms of amps, we've got the Helix C4 running the tweeters and the mids, a Helix C4 for the mid bass. Up under here there's a Zapco 1100.1, which is running the 215 subs. And then I've got a C1 here, which is sort of left over to do a front sub. I need to install that as well. And then a bunch of fuses and all the other usual stuff. So I've still got a bit of work here to sort of tidy up all the wiring and put in the fancy beauty panels and things, but anyway, still got a bit of work to do there as well. So I'll just jump up front, turn on some music, let you have a little listen. It's not fantastic, it needs a good tune. I use REW and got a U-Mic 1 to do my own tuning, but I'm no means an expert, so that's my system. See you guys.
Hi guys, my name is Shadansh. This back here is my 4 Series Coupe, and I would love to build a system in it. I am planning on putting a 3-way active front end. Yeah, it's got red interior, it's quite nice. But 3-way active front end in the door. Sorry, as I was saying, 3-way active front end. So on the stock locations, so the mid-range is gonna go there, tweeter is gonna go there. underseat woofers, and I will also have center channel and rear fill. So for the rear fill in this car, it uses a coax type of system. I'm thinking to initially just start off with one mid-range, the stock one, and leave the tweeter unplugged, and in the future, if I feel like I need the higher range, the higher frequencies, I will turn that one on. For the sub, I plan to open up that ski pass-through and make the sub point forward inside. I have a pre-built JL Audio 10W6 box in a ported enclosure, so hopefully it sounds good and doesn't rattle too much. Of course the car is gonna get sound treatment and absorbers, but I don't know how far to go with this because the car is fairly quiet on the road. So that's where the sub's gonna go, right in the center, and the box fits. It takes up about this much room. I'm gonna do a measurement to see if that sounds good, or should I place it sideways and get some more trunk room. Where I plan to put the amps and subs is down here, because it just looks like it's built for it. So I'm not sure what amps and the DSP to go with. I am thinking of a Helix V12 with a monoblock for the sub, or two Helix 6 channels, one with a DSP, something like a P6 or a P6 Ultimate, because I already have one, and in the future I could replace them with a Class AB amp, but I've never tried a Class AB, so I don't know how it sounds. My biggest challenge with this car is a little bit of road noise that comes through from the frameless windows and the two-seat tune, because I really like having passengers in this car. It's a two-door car, it's made for that, and yeah. For the drivers, I'm going with Blam Multics 3-inch mid-range, Audio Frog GB10s for the tweeter, since I already have those from my last install. And I'm not sure about the underseat woofer just yet. Probably the match fit ones, and the Multics driver for the center as well. This is not the first system I've built. This is going to be the second one, but the last one, the main issue was tuning could have been better, and I had a lot of rattles in the car, but it was a car that was going to rattle. It was a little sports car, so it still was the best sounding system I've ever heard. So I forgot to record of what I learned from the channel and the Patreon subscription. So a lot of it comes to learning the correct techniques for tuning, for installation, the importance of good installation, the importance of speaker selection, and why certain things rattle when even though it's fully deadened and absorbed and everything, but the speaker's still not performing as it should, or you expect it to perform better because you spent so much money on it. So I learned all of that, and then I learned the correct how a car should sound like from it. So the sound should come from in front of you, from the middle of the dash, instead of like the stock BMW system comes somewhere after a bunch of tuning from the built-in equalizer. It comes from somewhere around my knees, and it's so annoying at this point because I know what it sounds like, and in my last car I managed to tune it to come center of the dash, and the staging is good. So that is definitely what I hope to get more out, is better installation techniques and better tuning techniques, so I can tune my rear fills, I can tune my center channel properly, and I can get this car to go boom, 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 and all my friends sit in the passenger seat and be like, we want one. We get it, why you spend so long and so much time and so much money to make your car sound so good, and we want to do the same. So can you help us?
Hello guys, Peter, Eddie. Good to see you. My name is Tim Ortiz. I am from Denver, Colorado in the United States. First off, I want to start with thanking you guys for all the information that you provide, the inside look at things, but I think most importantly, the honesty. You know, it's something I think that's rare out there in this industry, at least from my experience as a hobbyist. I've learned a lot of what to focus on and what not to focus on from you guys. I think I was blinded by equipment, getting the right equipment, getting expensive equipment, and not as focused on making sure we can make the most of whatever equipment that I purchase and put in the vehicle. So certainly something that's continuing in my brain. I have to slow myself down from trying to buy things when they come up, maybe for a good deal or something of like that nature locally or from one of the groups. And I've bought and sold some equipment while watching you guys that I definitely did not need. I probably still have some equipment that I don't need. So, you know, what have I learned? I started like any other teenager with lots of bass and just slapping speakers into stock locations and things, and not knowing much better. I've come a long way since then. I haven't put too many systems in vehicles recently, as many of my vehicles have been newer and have had upgraded sound systems from the factory, and so I've learned that less is more sometimes, and so I haven't tinkered with those unless I've dedicated myself to doing it the right way. And so that's what my current project is a vehicle that I would like the main focal point of it to be the sound system. And so I've learned so much. I mean, I think when I first started watching, I didn't really even know what a DSP did. I certainly hadn't considered it for my own needs. So I do watch some of the RTA videos with a lot of confusion, but certainly pick up things as I watch them. Haven't quite gotten to the point where I can utilize that knowledge, but you know, it's all good. Seeing the right way. I love the videos of showing things where how you've changed things from other installers, or how things for you have not worked out as you have planned, things of that nature. That's a learning experience you can only get from physically doing something. And so fortunate enough to be able to experience that through you guys. So again, thank you for that. I've got some notes to keep myself on track here. I think we talked about past experiences, really just kind of putting things together in stock locations and things. I do industrial design for a living, and so I've gotten a lot more shop skills. We're in my home garage now, where I do a lot of my tinkering and building. You know, I guess we can flip into, I'm about almost 4 minutes now. I guess let's go into a little bit of what the current project looks like. So this is just some equipment that I've got laying around, some focal access components. I am planning to use these 12 W6 V2s in the build. I don't know what these are going to end up doing. It may just be rear fill. I may throw them in another car and not use them at all. I also purchased this Zabco DSP amp combo. Again, not sure if I'm going to use it, but it is a good option at this time. So for now, that's kind of the equipment I'm sitting on, but no other plans in terms of purchase or anything. The car that I'm working on is this, and I apologize, I have the front camera still here. Is a 2002 Audi S8. Current status is really just that it is put into pieces. The headliner is all pulled. Before I had decided to do a sound system to this level, I had pulled the headliner to have it re-trimmed in suede. That was done, unfortunately, and so I may be tearing some of that apart to do pillars. But there's not a lot of room here, airspace wise. The trim really comes right up against it, and I don't know if it's coming through here, but you can see the shape. It's almost completely snug all the way top to bottom. I am planning to pull the dashboard to fix a few things, and so I believe what I'm going to do is put mids up here. I do have quite a bit of room here, similar to, oh gosh, Eddie told me which one it was, and I can't remember. I think it was the TL, maybe, where there's lots of floor space here. I actually wouldn't mind eliminating this rear foot HVAC tunnel, but unfortunately there's a large fuse panel here and another one here. So I believe mid-bass in the kicks is out. I'm not quite committed enough to go IB. This vehicle is a little bit rare in the States. There's only about 3,000 of them imported. And so I'm hesitant to cut a hole in it at this time, but maybe I'll change my mind as I get a little bit deeper. I have a spare dashboard, and so I don't mind cutting holes in that. I have lots of spares for this thing, but I don't have a spare body. So not quite committed to IB yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I know you'll hate me for saying this, but possible door location for mid-bass, thinking something along the lines of what you did with the Honda initially and building a box in there. I know none of those options are good, but I'm not really sure what to do with the mid-bass at this time if I don't do kicks. Maybe tweeters and the sail panels. I'm really just still up in the air on location. Every video I watch of yours, you know, I get new ideas, new things come to light, etc. And so it's still very much in flux. This video contest, again, thank you for the opportunity, has really kind of kicked me back into gear. I had to put this project to the side for the last few months to get some things around the house done and get ready for the winter. But now that the snow has started falling, I pulled it back in, and I think it's time to get started on putting it back together. So that's my project. It's evolved several times, so I couldn't possibly go through all those iterations. As I said, it continues to evolve as I learn more and more. Thank you guys for all the information. It's a bit hard for me to keep up with it all. I have 2 little ones and they take up so much time. But you know, I try and get in with all the videos that I can. I do take notes along the way. It's every little bit of information is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys so much. I hope you're well, and cheers.
Hello, it's Thomas here. I'm from Poland. Been in car Audi for about 3 years. This is my third project, third car, and yeah, it's still in the works, obviously. Loads of plans to get it going and change things up. Only this year I've like gone full on into like sound quality, mostly because I managed to get this equipment that I have right now second hand. It's mostly used equipment. I believe like 90% of my equipment is used. So obviously financially it's a strain, and yeah, even the Plexi is salvaged from another project. And yeah, plans for next year is to maybe go and compete. I definitely want to go to competition and see what it's like and hear all the cars and everything, and maybe start competing. You know, a project is never done. I've learned it right now. Built this project this year about vacation time. Spend about 3 or 4 weeks every day building the whole trunk, all the wires and everything, and yeah, changed a lot since then. Firstly I had like pillars and some roll speakers, which I found out are no good, basically because of the mids that play really high. Then I've installed these dash speakers. The LS3s are also used. Yeah. Right now I'm building new pillars. They're ready. I'm gonna fit them today. I don't have the speakers yet, but I will be putting them in. I believe this month. And next day I'm planning to go IB with the base, because the doors really suck. And basically found some space under seat that should be able to fit some nice speakers, go through the floor, and we'll see how it will go. The sub also, I'm happy with it, but I would like for it to go lower, and obviously IB is the way to go. Don't know if I can afford it next year. We'll see. The other thing I wanted to say about in this video is basically what I've learned. It was really hard to find a good channel, good source for learning, like the SQ side of car audio. Like on SPL, there's loads of videos, loads of people are doing it, and for SQ, it's a different story, isn't it? I found Peter's channel, PS Sound, maybe like 1.5 years in to the project. I had a BMW then, and yeah, I learned from the best. Now I know, so I'm really happy with the knowledge I got. This year I've signed up to Patreon. It's definitely worth it, and basically I'm trying to catch up. I've gone through the first year of the Patreon videos, and I'm slowly climbing up, and it's really amazing. The funny thing is, I'm installing something, and then I just come up and watch all the videos, and I get the knowledge like handed to me whilst I'm installing. So this is great. It works out fantastically. I mean, I'm very happy with the dash install. It could have been done better by me. There are some problems, but we can work it out. I can always take the dash out again in the summer. Obviously, you can see the weather now in Poland. Just got some snow, and yeah, it's gonna be like that probably for about 2-3 months. So fun times. I can do some car audio things, but not much. It's too cold. But hope you liked the video, and yeah, I really recommend like PS Sound and all the knowledge you can get from the Patreon side to everyone who wants to try it and like do DIY stuff. It is time consuming, definitely. Car audio is very time consuming. That's what I've learned. But the journey is amazing. So thank you, Peter, and hope to see you one day.
Hello, Peter and all the patrons of PS Sound. I am Jussi from Finland, and this is my Volvo 240 from 1987. And I got this car about a year ago. I was trying to figure out what to do with the audio system. I've always had some kind of audio system built in my cars, and I had one of these like 10 years ago, and I built there a 12-inch trunk baffle behind the back seat, and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to do something similar with this car. Ended up asking in Finnish car audio Facebook group some advice, and the guys pointed me to PS Sound YouTube, and that's where the all craziness started. So I've been watching the videos, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and now I've ended up building this baffle, so it will be below the hatch shelf in the trunk. There is quite good room there, so the subwoofer will be facing down here in an angle, and the magnet will pop through the hatch shelf. I will cut some more holes to it, and I will use 18-inch Dayton Audio Ultimax for that, and I already cut the floor of the trunk open, welded some steel here and threaded holes so I can close it if I want it, or I can do some kind of mesh stuff or whatever there. On the side will be battery in the bottom, and then amps on top. And for front end I'm using hybrid audio Unity 6x9 shallow, so the near-doom version, mid-bass IB in the kick panels, and you've seen already pictures about those in the PS Sound Facebook group, where I'm posting some pictures to the album. For the upper front end, I have 3-inch AI Sonic Solo 3 mid-range and AI Sonic Stage 3 T27 tweeters, but I haven't started any install of those, so I'm not sure yet if I'm going to even be able to fit the 3-inch here, because there really is no room, especially on the driver's side. The dashboard needs to be taken completely apart, I think, but we will see. So there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to learn. I also bought UMIC 1 to do some measurements, and of course DSP amp for the front end. And it will be the first time I'm tuning anything else than just the crossovers, so there will be a lot to learn. So I think that's enough about the project. Thanks for the contest and possibility to share our projects on your channel a little bit. Thanks for all the content you're making. I think it's pretty obvious at this point how big of an inspiration and help it is for a lot of people like me all around the world. So thanks for everything, and bye bye.
Hello, my name is Will. I am a student at Texas A&M in College Station, And behind me is my current build that I've been working on for around the past year. So before this build, I had a old Jeep, and I put a subwoofer in it and a 4-channel amp and replaced the speakers. And at the time, I was really happy with that. So of course, when you get a new car, the first thing you start doing is putting speakers in it. And so when I was researching my project, I stumbled upon PS Sound. And ever since then, I have just been obsessed with the pursuit of sound quality and getting everything I can out of my system. So I'll go through my car, starting at the trunk, because that's what I've been working on lately. This is my third iteration of my car, I'd say. And my current goal is to make everything as professional and clean as I possibly can, to really finish my system. Because at the moment, my install does feel sort of amateurish in places. So I just moved my IB15AU to true infinite baffle in my spare wheel well. That was my most recent change. It was in trunk infinite baffle before this. So right now with that, I am working on rebuilding my trunk. I'm gonna relocate my amp rack to where my trunk baffle was and make all the wiring nice and pretty and braided. I bought, custom RCAs and wiring to do the perfect lengths. And so that's what I'm working on right now. Moving up to the front of the car, I have tweeters in the sail panels. I have 4-inch Audio Frog GB40 mid-range drivers in the dash. That was my first time doing fiberglass, and so I do want to go back and clean that up a bit. I didn't realize how much I needed to sand doing it the first time, but I'm really happy with those. I'm also going to move my tweeters to the A-pillars. That's another thing on my to-do list. And then my mid-base drivers are 8-inch drivers that are under my seats and are true infinite baffle through the floor. So I have a total of 3 holes in my car at the moment. And other than that, the goals with those are to move those to the kicks and do true infinite baffle through the wheel wells. But that's where I am with my car at the moment. And PS Sound and Peter's work has really inspired me and helped me along through this process. I would have never been at the point, where I was drilling holes in my car so soon without following all the builds that he has made. And I wouldn't have been this far along either. Having such a plethora of helpful content has been very convenient for me and my progress. And other than that, his work has also inspired me to change my career aspirations, and I'm a biomedical engineer right now as undergrad, but for my master's I'm going to switch into electrical with the plans to go into audio. I've just found this passion that I have endless fun and drive for, and I've had so much fun learning along this process that I really feel like that's what I want to do with my life. I don't know, I see Peter and the way he is in the community and what he does, and it inspires me, and I want to emulate some of that truthfully. So, and I've never been so confident in a decision like that. I really am. So it's a niche thing to look for internships for, it feels like, but I know you can't stop me. Like I said, Peter's content has really helped me out in a lot of ways. I really thank you for that, Peter. And so, all right, I appreciate your time listening to me talk for a bit. Have a good one.
So here we are, right at the end. I hope you all like the videos and you have felt the passion all the guys had showing their projects. It's definitely been fantastic. I was watching some of these videos while driving to work, just putting the phone on the dash away, not necessarily looking that much on the video, but listening to the guys, what they were saying. And of course I was scrolling through the videos while editing the video as well. And it's just mind-blowing, honestly. It's mind-blowing where we are right now and how great progress I could see in many people's systems. But as now this video is about the giveaway winner, this is the time to pull out the winner. And for that, I didn't find the glass fishbowl that I had last year, because Mrs. used it for something else. And Mrs. has just turned up. First, I want to write all the names on little pieces of paper. I will just drop them in the little glass, and then she's gonna pull it out. She's ready. She's ready for the winner. So first video, Adam with the Astra VXR. And I'm gonna show these so you will see I'm not making things up. So that's Adam with the Astra VXR. I just fold it and drop it in. And then next one, Bradley with the Honda. With the Honda, there you go. Hopefully the phone focuses on it. Sorry, this is gonna take a bit of a time, maybe scroll through it. Then Danielle with the Chrysler 300C. With the 300C. So here you go. And then Dave with the Focus. Cool. Yeah. Then Eugene with the Transporter T4. Yeah. Maybe next year we will have, I don't know, 50 videos. I'm seriously struggle if guys send in 10-20 minute long videos. But why not? Why not? We may have half a day long video, or we break it up into parts. Then Glenn with the Prius. Here we are. Then Shandor with the E46. Shandor with the E46. Cool. Car with the yep. Car with the BMW 3 Series. Yep. Then we have Mark with the Skoda Superb. I come right. Mark with the Superb. We are halfway through. Then Michael with the T6. Here we are. This is going to be exciting. Who the winner is going to be. Then Paulius. With the Audi and BMW, because he showed 2 projects. With Then we have Phil with the E91 BMW. Here we go. Then Shudanch, very interesting name. Shudanch. With the BMW 4 Series. Yeah. 4 more, almost there. Then Tim with the Audi S8. There you go. If I'm excited, how excited you can be. If it's going to be your name or not. 17. That's a good percentage to have a chance to win. Then Thomas with the Opel. Here you go. Then we have Yusuf, if I pronounce his name well, with the Volvo 240. Here we are. And then we have Vio with the Toyota. Here we are. Vio with the Toyota. So, babe, you ready? Mixy. You will see her coming in now. So people can't blame it on me, you know, cheating or anything like that. You could see I was dropping in each name. There you go. Pull the winner. There you go. Mix it
Good
more.
luck, guys.
Come on. It's one. It's one, right?
Hopefully.
Let's see. And the winner is Glenn with the Prius. Yeah, from America.
See you in America.
Brilliant. So, congratulations. Well, to all of you, really, because I know it's not easy to talk to a camera and talk to the words, show your project. Many people are not confident to do it, and that's why I'm sure that was one of the reasons why many people didn't send the videos in, and I know most of you have something to show. And I even mentioned to the guys that if you don't have a project to show, you can still take a short video to talk about why you've been supporting me and the channel, all the content we share, how that affects you, how that inspires you. And some people, yeah, didn't have a car to show, but they could share their story and their ideas. And then there you go. Glenn had a project to show as well in his Prius. So brilliant. Congratulations. So I'm expecting a message from you on Patreon, and then we will have to organize a time when we can talk about what you will ask, because I told to the guys that now they can ask for something that they need in their systems the most, up to £1,000 value, whether it's going to be a speaker, an amplifier, cables, DSP, anything they need. And actually someone mentioned that the biggest help would be if I could tune the car. Well, America is not a million miles away, and if I could find the right flight tickets, Glenn, I'm just saying it now, who knows, maybe early next year we organize a time when I just quickly fly over and I tune your system if you're at that stage, I don't know, or whenever you get there. That could be interesting. It could be really fun. But we will figure out what you need the most, and we will talk about it in person. So again, guys, thank you very much for sending the videos in, and thank you very much for all of you watching this long video. Hopefully you found inspiration from it. If you're not a Patreon member yet, then you can find the link to the page, to the Patreon page in description. Then you can check it out, what it's about. We have different tier levels, and then you can get different things depending on what you sign up for. Check it out, because now we have more than 2 years worth of content right now, and you can go back, you can watch all of it. Good luck with that, but there's definitely a lot of valuable information over there, so it's worth checking out. So here we are at the end of a long video. I'm going to finish it here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.